This is the Church of. I am Michael T. Smith, your pastor for today, and here is your message for the week of August 4th, 2024. Okay, August 4th, 2024 very much reminds me of August 4th, 2001. It was 23 years ago today. Let me see if I can get this. Sergeant Pepper taught the band to play. I don't know if you, oh man, it's not good. There it is. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's it. That's us kids, us meddling kids there, 23 years ago. Now that's not our wedding day. When would you say that is, Connie? When? Maybe March. So we had known each other about 6 weeks at that point, and we were so in love, still in love. And that's it. This is our anniversary day. We're celebrating 23 years. Connie and I were talking about it this morning. I'm always a year ahead in our anniversaries because we have two. We have the anniversary of the day we met, and then we have the anniversary when we got married, which were only 6 months apart. Now, somebody said, "Well, do you guys have a 3 month? Did you guys have a baby 3 months later?" No, we did not. We might as well have. That's another whole story. Boy, I can't wait to talk about that. But love is a beautiful thing. But we got married in 6 months. So every 6 months we celebrate an anniversary. So this is our 23rd year anniversary, part B, because we had 23rd A there in January. And I was telling Connie, I woke up and I just laid my hand over on her in the morning. I said, "I bless you for another 75 years. And then we started talking about it. And I said, well, 75 years, that puts me to 126. That's about good, you know. And then I thought, wait a minute, but if we're doing halvesy anniversaries, like if we're doing one every 6 months, I said 75 anniversaries. I said another 150 anniversaries. So whether it's a 1 year or 6 month, Connie and I celebrate every 6 months, and today is our day, and that is us as kids. 27 years old, they're 51 years old now. I don't think I look much different, honestly. I know she doesn't look any different, and look at that smile, man. That tells you everything. That tells you everything you need to know. Look at me smiling like an idiot right now. That tells you everything you need to know. It's good. So today, on Anniversary Sunday, I'm going to give you about 3 sections this morning. We're talking, it's an anniversary edition of the Church of, and we're talking about, I just want to just pour into you about relationships. You know, in our church, we started out talking doctrine and separating from false religion. And then we went into a series on how to live as a person. Then we went into a series on doctrine and false religion. And then we went into, a series on living as a person. And then so we're kind of going back and forth between that. And so I don't know if this is a series, but I do want to talk about relationships because there's so much about relationships, marriage relationships, non-marriage relationships, singles and dating and separation and divorce, all sorts of ideas that, like we talked about last week or over the past couple weeks, you can't even begin to connect with divine truth until you shed that false idea of we own God. And so there's a lot of things I taught about marriage that have been very good. A lot of things Connie and I have taught about sex and dating and relationships have been very good. Some of it not so good, but you're blind, right? As long as you believe you have the private answer to God, as long as you believe that people go to hell because they don't accept your religion, it doesn't matter how religious they are, doesn't matter how faithful they are, doesn't matter if they repent, doesn't matter if they make sacrifices, doesn't matter if they live piously, if they live charitably, if they're honorable husbands and wives and mothers and daughters and fathers and sons. None of that matters. He's just doing it the wrong way, so therefore you go to hell. As long as you believe that, right, you've not even stepped into the threshold to contact truth or to emerge in truth enlarging. But once you shed that idea and say, well, that's a ridiculous idea, that's the fundamentally most unjust idea I could ever have about God. Once you shed that, now you're ready to start looking at some things. And so we're going to look at some things as it relates to relationships. So I'm going to give you 3 sections here. I'm going to try to keep them about 15 minutes each. Some may go a little shorter, some may go a little longer, but catch this in your notes as best as you can. So many people I deal with in our How Can I Help sessions and just in life in general, right? My own life, my own family. So many people, single, who want to be in relationships, right? Or single people who don't want to be in relationships. And by single, I don't necessarily mean unmarried, but There are certainly unmarried people who want to be married. There are single people who want to be partnered, maybe not even in marriage, and then there are some who don't. There are people in relationships who want it, right? They want to be in that relationship, and be that a partner relationship or marriage or whatever, and are dating someone or committed to someone or whatever, and then there are others who don't, and they're in marriages and it's just not doing good. And I interact with these people a lot. I As a pastor, I've been doing it my whole life. I have been a marriage counselor since I was 15, counseling my parents going through things, and they kind of looked at me, because I had this calling or this gift or this whatever, this mystic shamanism thing that I had, where and it's what is that? Even strangers will come up to me and just start telling me their stories. I pull into a convenience store, somebody start pouring out their whole lives, or be waiting in line and somebody open. There's just something about me that people just say, "Hey, here's what's going on," and it's very emotional work for me to just talk about what people are dealing with and try to help them. But it's to see people, and I try my best to see people. I try my best to see myself and what they're going through. I try my best to see them in my own life. Wow, I see me there. I see me there. I see them in me. And above all, I try to see God in them. Right? I mean, that's if you want to talk about true religion. And the difference between true and false religion. Think of what we have from the Bible in Matthew 25. He said you saw people, but you couldn't see me. Right? I was right there, and you did not notice me, for failure to notice people. So I want to talk about it. My heart goes out to single people these days. I always, especially those who want to be partnered with someone, and this is young and old. Um, who want to be connected with people. I deal with sometimes teenagers, and just a young love is tough, man. I guess I was going to say especially now, but it's always been tough, right? I mean, the stories and songs and movies and heartbreak and misconnections and misreading. I mean, this is a very real thing, and now, especially with social media, and I am not at all against social media, but we're kind of more connected than ever before, but in many ways more depleted relationally than ever before. And so, but young and old people wanting to be connected, but still figuring themselves out. And please understand that does not end when you're 19, you're 20, you're 25, 30. I got myself figured out. Figuring yourself out is going to take you the rest of your life. And for single people, unpartnered people, trying to read the terrain of relationships, um, trying to read the tea leaves, right? Internally, am I ready? Externally, are they ready? Am I interested in this? Are they interested in this? Are we interested in this? And that's a painful thing, because Robert Nesta, right? He said, "I don't want to wait in vain for your love. It's been 3 years, girl, since I first knocked on your door." And I don't mind waiting, but I don't want to wait forever. And that's the thing. You find a person, it matches up on paper, and you feel a little spark, and but do they feel the same thing? And they're nice and they're kind of friendly, but is it just friendly? Am I misreading it? And you end up are we just friends? Is it a friend zone? I've been through that. There's this girl I was sweet on in high school. I had two girls that I was sweet on in high school. And one I finally said something to, and she says, "Oh my gosh, I had the biggest crush on you for 2 years. I practically threw myself at you, and you didn't even notice." And I'm like, "But I noticed now." And she's like, "No, I moved on. I want to talk to you about somebody else," which is just horrible. And then this other girl that she was just amazing, and just just I don't know what it was, puppy love or kid love or whatever it was, but we were friends and blah 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 blah, and we were talking. She was sharing relationship woes one time, and she says, "Yeah, something like, well, somebody told me that maybe I should just go out with you." And I was like, "Oh my God, it's gonna happen." And she goes, "But I told her that's crazy. It's like my best friend would be like dating my brother. Wouldn't that be so silly?" And I was like, "That would be so silly, crazy. That'd be crazy." And of course, on the inside, I'm like, "Oh my God," So that's a thing, but it's not just a thing of kids. It's a thing of adulting too. Um, um, Do I say anything? I have compassion on what, I'm a straight typing talk of person. I'm always advocating for just say what you feel. But I know that that's not how it always works. And I talk to these young people, and I got a best friend, and we've always been best friends. But I think I might be attracted to her, and should I say something? And if I say something, blah blah blah. And I think, well, what do should I live the lie that I have a feeling towards this person, and I don't know if they know that I do, so I live a lie and not take a chance on getting what I want, or do I tell the truth and then risk making it weird? I mean, my God, how many times have we seen that play out? I mean, I think back to that high school thing. She was like, yeah, but it'd be like dating my brother. That'd be so weird. And I just kind of like, oh yeah, that'd be so weird. That'd be so weird. And then now I wonder, I mean, where I'm at now, I wouldn't trade anything in the world, right? God bless the broken road that led me to where I am. I mean, come on, man. Look at the picture. Just the picture, man. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for this, right? But then I wonder, back in the day, should I have said no? That's not what I think at all. But that takes so much courage to say what you really feel, to put yourself out there like that, and then it gets thing, and then okay, so they come back, and now they're weird because they're all looking at you like, well, how are you looking at me? You're like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck on the boat, right? Are you looking at me like a chicken leg now? Because I kind of thought we were together. It's just a whole thing. So do I tell the truth and lose the friendship that they have, even though it's ripping me apart, not being who I really am? And how long do I keep this up? And then do I get frustrated with them and they don't even know what's going on, and I totally walk away? I mean, it just, and then I walk away and I go, was I being immature? I mean, this is complicated stuff, and it's not newly complicated stuff. It's a long time going complicated stuff. Or maybe, I deal with people who get mixed signals, right? Like you chat me up and you talk me up and you say all these words, and then your actions and your priority dictate something completely different. And I hadn't talked to you for 20 years, and you said, I was just thinking about you, and I really miss you, and I did this, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I kind of let this go, but now there's something there. But are we going to go forward, or are we not going to go forward? And it's like, you live 2 hours away from me. If you were seriously interested, it's a 2-hour drive, and then but you say you're totally interested, but we can't. I mean, it's stuck between stop and go, and that's difficult, man. That's not easy. Or somebody would say, well, do we want different things? That's a big one that I get quite a bit. Because one person in the relationship can be getting exactly what they want, which is what? I am interested in you. I do like what we have. I do like whatever we call this. I don't want anything more. And then you say, my God, am I being bad here because they're telling me what they want and what they don't want, but I'm trying to turn it into something they don't want. But what's the other side of that? They're getting what they want by keeping me arm's length. But the only reason I'm content with arm's length is I'm waiting around hoping on them to change. And these are difficult things. Maybe neither one of us is the bad guy here for wanting what we want, but maybe I have this eternal hope that if I hang around long enough, right, it'll turn into what I want, or I'll make you see that you want what I want. And how long should I do that? I just came out of this COVID thing, which is crazy. Please, my friends, protect yourself at all times. It's just crazy. But I, I had the COVID thing, and I was shocked. I thought, well, I got strep throat. And they were like, Mr. Smith, no, this is not strep throat, which is just yucky. But then they're like, well, I don't know if you could tell. You probably can't see my full. But I'll tell you this here. I'm I'm twice the man I was back in this photo, right? I'm a big guy. And that's what a guy said, Dewey Oxburg. He said, he said, I swallow a lot of emotions and a lot of pepperoni pizzas. He says, I don't know if you can tell I got a bit of a weight problem. No. Anyway, so they kind of looked at me and it's like, like the fat cat on the on the chart in the veterinarian's office. They're like, well, normal is here, but Scruffy, Scruffy isn't a cat name. What's a cat name? Huh? Scruffy's a dog name. Give me a cat name. Mittens. Mittens. You got the big Snoopy poof jacket Mittens going on here, and we need you to get down to like the little kitten that lost her mittens. Anyway, so but I had this, and they're like, well, you could take the Paxlovid because it rhymes with COVID. and you could take that or you couldn't. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Well, if you don't take it, complications could come, and somebody being overweight, you don't really have any health issues. Your lungs sound clear, but this thing could go left on you, and you could end up in the hospital if you don't take it within like the next 72 hours. Or you could take it and have anaphylaxis, and it could swell up your throat, and you could die. So, Mr. Smith, whatever it is you want to do here, I'm like, what kind of choice is that? So you got to pray, and how long do I stay, and how long do I take it up? And I taking this. Is it a normal side effect? Is it not a normal side effect? What has it done to me? What is it that should? Is this the range of what they say by the demons affecting my my digestive tract, or is this the 7 legions of hell? Are these normal demons, or are these the master of demons? You don't know what's going on. And I think also with relationships, it's like, well, I love this person. I think I love this person. I keep doing everything to show them that I love this person, and they can't see me, and I'm just going to walk away, and then walk away. But like my son always tells me, 99% of gamblers quit right before they get that breakthrough and hit big on the jackpot. So what do you do? It's kind of hard to walk away from something that's iffy when finding something that's all in is so rare. This is the human condition. This is the human condition. And if you're 16 out there listening to me, this is the human condition. If you're 56 out there, if you're 76 out there listening to me, this is the human condition. Should I say how I feel, or should I play coy? Should I tell you what I really think and you run away? Or should I just, is having you within 100 yards not what I want? I want you right up close to me, but 100 yards is better than miles away. I mean, this is the torment of what it means to be human. Do I hold out for what's real and valuable, or do I just take something cheap? And sometimes it's okay. I take something cheap just because I got to feel good, and I use feel good in quotations, because sometimes we take relationships that feel good in quotation, but like we talked about in our other series, they're not a 360-degree feel good, right? They're not an inner and outer, short-term, long-term, me and them feel good. Maybe feel good for them, not feel good for me. Maybe feel good for me, not feel good for them. Maybe feel good to my ego, to my flesh, or to my pain, but maybe not feel good to my character and myself looking in the eyes. I mean, so it's like, but I want something valuable, but right now I need something cheap, but it's eating against me, because I realize that maybe I'm being hurt, or maybe I'm hurting myself, or maybe I'm hurting another. Like I've got an itch that needs to be scratched, and I'm doing that because I got my own pain, but I'm creating pain, which makes, this is human existence. This is it, not something, and that's the whole point of the incarnation, right? Of Christ becoming human. Christ is the whole point of the story, right? Between the biblical Christ and the historical Christ and the mythical Christ, right? In between, there's the actual Christ, who is supposed to know fully how messy it is to be human, and to say, look, I get it, and I don't condemn, and I don't shame, and I don't judge, and I understand. I mean, that's the beauty of it, to say, wow, you know how complex. Some people say, well, I'm just going to give up on the idea entirely. Well, for now, right? I give up entirely for now, because we have that heart. There's a matter of figuring out not only who we are, but what we want. Figuring out what season I am. What am I looking for now? What am I looking for in the future? And that changes with time. Some people say, look, I'm too young to look for anything serious now. I'm young. Some people say, I'm too old to look for anything serious now. I'm in a learning, building, growing, a reinventing, a rediscovery stage. I'm not wanting something serious. I'm just on the upswing. I'm not wanting something serious. I'm coming out of something. I'm not wanting something serious. Or I'm too young to be goofing around. I'm too old to be goofing around. I'm not trying to mess my life up. Look, I'm serious. I'm looking to build something, a family, a life, a future together. I'm looking for a partner. Or I'm old enough now to see that, people have their lives and I have mine. I'm not looking to merge and smash up. I just want to have a negotiated Venn diagram. This is completely you. This is completely me. And we can intersect here. And that's what it is. I've got my own family. I've got my own kids. I've got my own grandkids. I've got my own finances. I've got my own stuff. I want somebody to go to dinner with, catch a movie with, go to a concert with, grab a meal after church with. But I don't want to turn it into anything, These long-term friendships and commitment with aging, right? Some people say, as aging, some people as they age, they want someone to care for, or they want someone to care for them. Others have said, no, I've been there and done that. I've cared for, I've buried a spouse. I've walked through the difficult things. I know, and they've already been through that, and I'm not going at it again. It's complicated. It's complicated. Now, right now, we're just in section 1 talking about people that are unpartnered, trying to figure it out. And remember, like we talked about in our Gay Friends and Family series, each of us come into a relationship with a base level of support and resources. And we have that before we go in and after. And love, right? The Christ ethic is to recognize that we trade at different currencies. You say, I'm not really looking for anything long term here. I'm not really looking for somebody to care for me. Why? Because I have a huge network of resources. My kids are local. My grands are local. I got a brother over here. I got a brother. So when you say I'm not really looking for something, sometimes you're not looking for something because you're speaking from where you are. I'm fully supported. Another person may say, but I am looking for something because I don't have a great relationship with my kids or my health, or my family's far away, or I don't have any family, or I don't have that financial. And so we're negotiating in every relationship, single, married, gay, straight, dating. We're negotiating with different currencies, right? You know, some people have a person to go talk to about everything, a family to go talk to about everything. Some people have a non-judgmental family that says, well, if you like it, I love it. And other people say, how are you going to do this? It's going to ruin your life. Everybody goes into it with their base resources in love. The Christ ethic is to say, look, I'm coming to the table with my supply. You're coming to the table with your supply. And to how do we offset the inequity of this support and supply? And I want a relationship with you, but I'm not looking to care for anyone. Is sometimes a thing that says, because I don't need the same things out of it that you need. And those are all the dynamics of navigating this messiness. And then you combine all this with who we are, you know, who we want to be romantically, who we are romantically, with who we are sexually, right? And I know sometimes kids are listening. I'll keep it uptown. All of us are different. Some of us are basically non-sexual people, apart from a relationship. If there's no relationship, we're not really sexual people. I mean, a person may want or be open to a romantic relationship, and they accept, in theory, that the sexuality part comes along with that. You know, for better or for worse, I know that will be a part of it if I have a romantic relationship, and it's something that I could take or leave. But if it's there, great. If not, it's kind of sometimes it's a necessary evil or a built-in what do they call it? A fab, feature, advantage, benefit, right? It's a bonus. There are some people that are like that. They're like, well, I'm not really sexual at all unless I'm in a relationship, and then you know it's kind of an aside. But then there are other people that sexual expression and sexual pleasure are central to who they are. We're all coming into the field with these things. That is it's not a part of me, whether I'm in a relationship or not. It's not like, well, this is not a part of me. This is very much a part of me, and it needs to be part of the relationship. It's a factor in the relationship that I'm looking to create. And these just complicate. These complicate. They don't make it impossible. They just, what I mean by complication, it just increases the demand for giving and receiving grace. Some people express their sexual part of their lives. They prefer to express it apart from partnering demands. Self-love, right? Which is among the most natural things. Physical self-love is one of the most natural things that can be done. It's very natural, maybe most natural, although it's not without its own risks and complexities, right? There's no panacea here. So I'm single and I can handle it myself, and I've got every device known to man, and you know, there's plenty of pictures of John Stamos online that I can find, and I'm happy with what that is. And I get that. That sounds fine. That sounds good in theory. And I got my romance novels, and I got my nudie books or whatever it is. And it's I've got a completely self-contained, but that's not without its risks and complexities. There's no. Well, this is all sewn up neatly. Others prefer, you know, I like a relationship, but there's a sexual part of me that's kind of small, and you know, maybe once in a blue moon, I'm dating a person, and you know, every couple of months we end up staying up late for a sleepover or a roll in the hay, and you know, but I want to keep my life separate, and that can be beautiful, that can be wonderful, but it's not without its risks and complexity. Somebody say, "Oh my gosh, Pastor, you're talking about self-love. You're talking about rolling the hay with a person I'm dating every couple of months. Can Christians even do that?" My answer to that is, can Christians do anything? I mean, we're afraid of everything. We've been told everything is wrong. Everyone is wrong. Everything is wrong. Every sexual thought, every sexual act, every connection, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. And we think, well, you just get married and you just unite it before God and it all works out. And I will tell you, that is not without risks and complexities. In the church of, I'm not looking to take you from the law of Moses to the law of false Christianity into a new law of do's and don'ts. I'm not interested in you being little children under a schoolmaster. I'm interested in you growing up into Christ, moving into that Christ ethic, moving into self and others' dignity, moving into respect for dynamics and consent, moving into seeing the other. Others of you out there are seeking a partnered sex, but apart from the romantic and the relational obligations. I don't have the time, I don't have the priority, so I've got a friends with benefits. And listen, I hear you. I know that's what some of you have going on, and I offer no judgment, but that's not without risk and complexities. It's usually only temporary at best. Many times it's a distraction or a detraction from our own necessary growth and personal metamorphosis, or worse, it may develop into unequal feelings. Maybe one has a feeling that they're not being honest about with the other, or maybe one has a feeling outside that is now complicated by this kind of convenient attempt to be warm in the cold night. Some are looking for unattached, just sex for sex sake. Well, there's an app for that, right? We know that. And that can work in the conceptual, but it's not without risk and complexities. Why? Because of our health. First of all, you got to be healthy physically, and it's a dangerous world out there still. Take all your medicines, do all your things, do all your guards, get all your tests. But there's an inner health to that too, and I'm just not sure that we were designed for this unattached passion without personhood. I'm just not sure that's truly who we are. So, well, I would just tell you this: it's difficult to close your eyes to other people. It's difficult to close your eyes to your own internal longings for a long time. Why? Because an internal alarm goes off and says, "This is leaving me empty," or maybe all that's happening here is I'm trying to fill an emptiness. And you got to step back and say, "Is this a 360-degree feel good?" And it's okay to pull back from that type of thing and say, that was a season of my life, I'm going to reset, right? It's okay to examine why I was in it and what I was getting out of it and what was missing from it, right? It's okay to look at that, because the core of God is in relation. That we don't have, in no religion do we see God as this monastic out there completely by God's self. In all religions, we see God in this giving and receiving flow of relationship. And that's who we should be as well, which brings us to section 2. Brings us to marriage. Section 2. Let's talk about marriage. Marriage is supposed to be the great equalizer of all things romantic and sexual, at least in theory, and largely in practice. I will tell you about marriage. People are against marriage. I will tell you this: marriage, if you examine the track record, it is the bestest, safest, tried and truest outcome. Half of marriages end in dissolution. Well, that's not really true. We could talk about that. But also half of them survive, and I would take non-married romantic partnerships, and I'd like to see the stats for that too. I mean, how many non-romantic married partnerships does the average person go through that break up before they enter into a marriage that might break up? I mean, it might be 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. I'm not suggesting marriage is a panacea. It has its own risks and complexities. But I'm also saying that in general, over history, put all the good, bad, and down, and the ups and downs that line up the pro column and the against column, the debit and the credit column. Marriage has a pretty good track record, but it's by no means perfect. And I will tell you, after 23 years with one woman, the only woman, right? I have thoughts, and we'll move into section 2. Let me say, a romantic relationship. So you say, I want to get into a romantic relationship, or I have a romantic relationship. Whether you're looking to get in one, or you're in one, maybe you're thinking about getting out of one. Let me just help you here. Let me help you. Romantic relationship, being in love, is mostly what you make it. It's mostly what you make it. I'll give you 3 things. A, romantic relationship should only be entered into rationally. A romantic relationship should only be entered into rationally. We're doing our sections here. What do you mean rationally? You should only enter into a romantic relationship rationally if it meets the test of what a prudent person might otherwise do. Would a prudent person do what you're getting ready to do? Would a prudent person, seeing all this and knowing, and that's a very good thing to ask yourself. Would a prudent person Sometimes you got to talk to a prudent person about what you're considering entering into, and let that person look at it objectively. When I met Connie, when I met this girl here, I was head over heels. I mean, look at that. Look at her. I can't even zoom in for you. Look at her. Look at the smile. That's my girl, right? I don't smile in those pictures because I don't like to show my smile, but Connie makes me smile. And Olivia does too, which is really funny. I take Olivia to I used to do photo shoots and stuff when I was a preachery person, and they were like, "Okay, Pastor Smith, would you smile, please?" And like, "Okay, but would you smile for the camera?" I am smiling, and they would just say, "Olivia, would you please?" She said, "Dad," and then it would just do it. I don't know. She's like her mama. She's a sweet girl. Anyway, I didn't trust myself when I met Connie. Right? I don't trust what I'm thinking. I don't trust my own. What do you mean you don't trust yourself? I wanted it. I wanted it to be right. I wanted to shoot the arrow and draw Connie around draw the target around her. So I had people outside of me to look at it and answer the question: am I doing what a prudent person would do? And when I walked away, one of my good associates that I knew said, "You're an idiot. This thing is landing in your lap and it's good on every point, and you're doubting whether or not it's a trap from Satan, because the way you look like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got eyes." So I wanted to know that it was what a prudent person would otherwise do. That's a good standard to have. But the second thing is, at the same time, a romantic relationship is half what a prudent person would otherwise do going in, right? But the other part of it is, it's undeniable magic. It's undeniable mystery. Involved a romantic relationship, and I'm not sure what wins out over the other. Because I think you got to take the prudent thing as far as you can take it. Say, this is a bad idea. This is not the type of this is not the type of situation. This is not the time. You have to do that. But you have to acknowledge the magic as well. And I'm 8 out of 10 probably over 1,000 relationships that I've been involved in. 8 out of 10. I finally just learned to keep my mouth shut. I finally just learned to listen and say, okay, well, here's what I think. Here's what a prudent person would otherwise do. But there's also magic to it, and I've seen ones that had all the prudence and went off the rails, and I've seen ones that I was like, I don't know about the prudence here, and it turned out okay, and because the magic, to take my my next COVID parallel, it's the viral load, right? I mean, for the road ahead, you need a whole bunch of magic. Right, that front end magic load. I mean, when you look at this picture, and I got some pictures. When you look at this picture, you got to see Connie when she's coming down the aisle, right? I mean, she is so excited, right? When after we were married, and we're leaving on the recessional or whatever it is, she's got this look. I won, she's as happy as she could be. Well, you need that front end magic load for the road ahead. There's fate involved. There's serendipity involved. There's an at first sight. If there's not an at first sight, there must be a first seeing. It may not happen at first sight, but if it is love, if it is something you're interested in, if it is something that there is an undeniable, I remember the first time I saw you. Well, might not have been the first time I saw you, but it was the first time I saw you. There's no romantic relationship with a person you've never seen. Whenever I hear somebody describing a present relationship, a potential relationship, a past relationship in counseling, I say, well, take me back, right? Take me back to the magic. I hear now why it wasn't prudent for you to do this, but that's not what you were telling yourself at the beginning. Tell me how the magic of the initial. Tell me how the mystery of the initial gave you a sight to see, something that you talked yourself into, or something. You got to have both because you can't process. There is no true romantic relationship that doesn't have both. Whenever I hear someone describing a potential relationship or a new relationship, I'm listening to what they're saying and what they're not saying about both of these aspects, the prudent and the mystical. My ear's on alert. What are you listening for when somebody's telling you about it? I'm listening for the perfect blend of soundness and nonsense. I'm listening for the perfect blend of that is completely rational. And are you crazy? I mean, you gotta have it, because that's it. I will tell you, after 23 years, you gotta have it. Newly in love people are often mocked for their head in the clouds, carrying on. And I will say, never by me. I'll never mock any newly in love people, head over heels, head in the clouds, that carrying on. I'll never mock you for that. Why? Because if I can't see how foolish a couple is acting in the whole affair, I seriously question whether there's any wisdom in it at all. If I can't see how foolish a couple is acting about the whole affair, I seriously question whether there's any wisdom in it at all. I was so crazy for this girl, right? That I had to have somebody say, "Hey, man, tell me if I'm thinking right here." I knew enough. I had enough in my spirit deposit to say, "Okay, somebody tell me my thinker's not totally clear." You weren't getting rid of the nonsense. The nonsense had taken me over. I just needed somebody to tell me there was prudence in the nonsense. But I'm telling you, if you're talking to me about somebody you think you love, you think might be the one, and I don't hear nonsense, if it's all nonsense, I'm not gonna. You're not going to get the thumbs up. It's a no from me, right? For that reason, I'm out, right? But it can't be all nonsense. There's got to be prudence to it. But my God, if it's all prudence and no nonsense, I'm questioning, what are you even doing? You don't know what you're doing. Well, I just don't want to be emotional about this. Brother, sister, it is emotional. And it's going to stay emotional. Well, not us. Yeah, you. We've always been very practical. Yeah. People often ask me, we're doing good here. Section 2 is coming to it. Well, what do I look for? What do I look for? People go back over the relationship. Well, we weren't really compatible from the beginning. We'll tell ourselves anything. That's why we have to have that viral load, that magic load, because you're going to come back and you're going to look at, you'll be tempted to, season by season, you'll go 3, 4, 5 years looking at it from the prudent side only, and waiting on that magic side to kiss it. Well, the magic, the initial onset, the deeper the 10 trillion little magic proteins get loosed in you at the beginning, they're helpful for later on. They're helpful. Opposites attract. Well, yes and no. Personality opposites, they sure do, right? Legos, you got little nubs and blank spaces that go together. Introverts and extroverts, you got risk takers and safe players, financial styles. I mean, yeah, that's part of the comedy, right? And that opposites attract thing is also part of transference. That sometimes I transfer who I'm not, vicariously. I live that through my spouse. You think I'm boring. Well, you think I'm boring. Man says, you think I'm a boring, stuck in the mud, fuddy-duddy. You think I'm a boring? Would a boring man marry a wild woman like you? I don't think he would. You think I'm just wild and everything. You think I just live and just fly by night in the seat of my pants and, hell for leather, going hell for leather and everything. And you think, would I marry somebody as collected and as together as you? We're transferring, right? The thing I'm not, I'm showing you that there's a smart part of me by choosing somebody like you. I'm showing you there's an adventurous part of me that wants to be full on fire because I chose someone like you. That's part of it. But when it talks about opposites attracting, it's not value opposites. Boy, that's a big thing. So is this for singles or married? Revisit it for everybody. Revisit your values. If it were me, I wouldn't marry somebody that didn't have my values. That's such an interesting thing. I don't even know if that's the word. I would look for somebody deeply honest. Part of this is biological. There are simply people who have a stronger moral sense by biology than others. There are people who are rules, but generally people are not as morally circumspect as we think we are. We each cut little corners. We each justify our little, but I know, but this and that. But but a base honesty, the obligation of honesty, a proactive, forthright, protective honesty. You want that in a relationship. I mean, we all lie for little reasons, right? We lie for fear. We lie for shame. We lie for guilt. We lie because we've been conditioned to in the relationship. We've been taught I can't be honest and fully say what I'm seeing or feeling or thinking or wanting here. We get conditioned to that. But even beneath our lies is this base commitment to honesty, this base commitment to, and you want to be with it. Just me, I can't tell you who you should be with, but I'm telling you what, people that steal or people that would just lie to get advantage over money or just take let's take these towels, let's take this thing, let's do. Well, they gave us $100 back instead of $10 back. Let's just take it. That's not an opposite that attracts. Then you add to this, of course, the issue of sex. Marriage is largely supposed to solve this, and it does, but not without its risk and complications. Mainly because we're not the same person throughout our lives. Age, season, hormones, stress, health, our bond proximity. Sometimes our love is burning hot and sometimes it's cold, our relationship. Discovery, healing. We got unaddressed issues. I highly advise against unaddressed issues. I was thinking about the bottom of the Titanic. They had all these compartments you seal off, so we're taking on water, we seal off. But you just can't seal it off and leave the hole there. Eventually you got to open it up and deal with it as much as we can. We seal it off. You got to do that because unaddressed issues, they rot over time. Which leads you to my third thing, right? So first, marriage, romantics, you got to have a prudent side, then you got to have a magic side. But then here's the thing: prudence and magic will get you in marriage, but there's only one key, one trait for sustaining it. And I'm oversimplifying, but I'm going to give you my August 4th, 2024 key. I want a loving person. Yep, I want a kind person, a patient person, a hardworking person. That's all very good. Here's what you're looking for: a considerate person. A considerate person. Some form of first-sightedness is necessary to fall in love. I remember when I saw Connie, I quite literally saw her with a gold light over her head in the sanctuary of the church. I couldn't even see, I didn't even know who she was, but I just saw a woman with a gold light. Someone said, well, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Well, like I said, magic. But then I remember sitting down with her while we were waiting. We decided to go out. The first date I've ever been on, first girl I've ever called to ask out on a date. I mean, we said, oh, you're talking about those girls in high school. I was 14 years old, man. I'm 27 years old. I called up a real adult woman with my own self. I'm a real boy. And I called her up and I said, hi, how are you? And would you like to get something to eat? And she said, yeah. And we got there and we're waiting on the table and I put my name down. And it'll be about 10 or 15 minutes. And we're sitting there talking. And she started telling me about what she does. She's an occupational therapist. She works with special needs children. And she, I said, what do you mean by that? And it's, well, I think spina bifida and CP and, this, the Asperger's and all this kind of stuff. I did. And I said, she said, oh, you know what you should do? You should come to Special Olympics. We're having it next week. You should come. And I was like, whoa, no, you got to come. It's going to be so great. It's awesome. I was like, I don't know. And the way she lit up just talking about those kids, it was our first date. We were 3 minutes into the first, 3 minutes into the first date. And looking at this girl, I said, in my head, my noodle, I said, only an idiot lets a girl like this get away. What happened? Sightedness, right? Saw her. What I see her light. I see her worth. I consider it, right? So it is, there's a first-sightedness that brings us into love, but consider doesn't mean polite. It means that there's an ongoing sightedness. It's essential for sustaining, lasting love, to consider my partner, to think carefully about them, to be drawn toward, to regard, to look at my beloved, to see again, ongoing, my beloved. Well, a considerate person. You're hearing politeness. I'm talking about consideration. I'm talking about regard. I'm talking about ongoing sight. I'm talking about looking at, observing, seeing, contemplating the sum of things pertaining to them, the sum of things concerning Connie, and then acting in the interest of what I have observed. I consider Connie. This is really the recipe for being a decent person, right? Consider your neighbor. Consider your coworker. Consider your children. Consider your parents. What's going on with your father or mother? What's going on with your neighbor? What must it be like to be them? What must it be like? Somewhere in here, I hear the very essence of the Christ ethic. Consider it. It takes first-sightedness. It takes a sight. It takes a seeing. Oh my gosh, and then I saw her, and then I saw him. That is what it takes to get in love. Forever seeing is a sustaining love. Now, I end on my last section here. There's so much more to this, but you only get August 4th one time. I don't know what type of, let me talk about my wife. Okay, just in case you forgot who we were talking about. I don't know what type of woman or wife anybody is supposed to be, or even what type of man or husband a person is. All I know is mine and hers is hers. And all you got to do is look at her, and you can tell. I took a picture one time. We were on a cruise, and Connie and I were on a cruise, and well, I guess our whole family was. And consider I was doing some work or whatever, and I looked, and Connie was just out on the balcony, and she was looking, and I see her, right, and she's there, and she's got her summer shirt on, and what did Mick Jagger? All the girls come by in their summer clothes, right? She's got her summer shirt on and her summer shorts on. And, Connie, shorts are difficult for Connie. she get them to go around her hips and her backside, and the waist looks like she's wearing a sack. She gets them over her waist, and she's got to cut them apart with the jaws of life, like Elvis is playing. Got to take the wings off to get them on and glue them back together, right, when she gets them on. It's a blessing and a curse. It's just a blessing. But I took a picture of her, and she's out there in all the golden sun. And, to know my wife, everybody comes in different shapes and sizes. I mean, She's 98 pounds here in this photo, 98 pounds. What did you think about that? 98 pounds. And that was a little heavy for her because the previous year, this is in March, Connie says, of 01. In March of 2000, I guess January of 2000, we were on a fast for the church. She was 92 pounds. So she's just a little bit. I'm telling you what, 56 of those 92 pounds are between her navel and her knees. I'm just saying that right now. I'm just telling you what's going on. I was eating some chicken wings the other day. And you know how you got your drums and your flats, and then every now and then you come across this drum that is like really short, but like this giant drum. I always think about, what was that chicken walking around? Was she just out there just walking around? That's Connie. That's Connie on the little chicken yard. That's me in the rooster on top of the house. But you just look at her. I took this photo, and there she was. She was smiling. She was sun-kissed, and she was sending, and you could see she got this big old hips and big old legs. And this lady says, "Oh, now comment on the photo. Now I see why her mister is carrying on all the time." Just look at my wife. Just look at her smile. Somebody told me the other day, I watched that video of you guys announcing the church. Connie didn't even say anything, but just the way she looks at you, the way she sits with you. People say all the time, "Oh, you were up preaching the other day, and she just walked out," and just the way just look. I don't know what she's supposed to be. I don't know what any woman is supposed to be. I just know what she is. When I was on lockdown, I was watching Little House on the Prairie. Why were you watching Little House on the Prairie? Because I couldn't watch the Olympics because my Olympic partner wasn't there. We have to watch that together. So I'm watching Little House on the Prairie, and I like Caroline Ingalls, right? I think that's Connie, right? I don't know. Oh, that's an insult. Is it really? I don't know anything about the actress. She's a phenomenal person, but the character is just this person who loves her husband, and this person who loves her family, and this person that's incredibly strong and resourceful, and the best person in the world you want to go on an adventure with, the best person in the world you want to go through a dark time with, the best person in the world you want to build a life with, and who she got a bunch of stuff going on keeping the world going, and I got a bunch of stuff going on keeping the world going, and we cross each other in the middle, and we love each other deeply, and I don't know. Connie's my number one everything. Literally number one. We get two. If we can afford two cars, she always has the newest and bestest car. If we have two keys to the same car, she's always key fob number one. She's seat position number one. In our room, we have our thing. I say ALEXA. Turn on lamp one. Lamp one is always Connie's lamp. We have cat in the hat cups. Thing one, thing two, thing three, thing four. She's thing one. She's the first and best of everything. She gets always the lioness share. She gets the first, the best, and if there's abundance, she gets the last of the least. And we will split the last bite of something 16 times in a row. How many times can you cut the piece of paper in half before it's down? And you know what? I make her my number one priority. And she treats me like I walk on water. Part of it's because she's an idiot, and I understand. Look at it, right? Some people are all looks. They don't have a lot of brains, and that's her. I get that. She thinks I'm fabulous. I don't know why she thinks I'm fabulous. I'm really not. She thinks I'm really attractive. I'm really not. It doesn't matter. I really don't know what that thing is. She thinks I'm amazing. And that's great because while I'm trying to make her number one, number one, number one, she's trying to make me number one. And my God, she spoils all of us. She spoils me. She spoils our children. She spoils my dad. She spoils everybody. I tell her with these kids, just you got to stop loving them like you do. Their spouses are going to be ruined. I don't know. But that's not true because maybe they marry somebody like I am and somebody like she is who wants to do everything in the world to make their life great. I think that's okay too. She's my everything buddy. She's my forever bestie. We first got married. We traveled all over the world together, sitting on the front row of church all the time. We were on the front row of church. And we called ourselves front row buds. We were frubs. Frubs. And we've been every sort of ever since. We're frubs. We share a plain elbow rest. We're plubs, right? We watch Olympics. She's my Olympic. I don't even know what an Olympic. I don't even know what that is. I asked her the other day. I said, "Well, I said counting out Olympics are every 2 years. We're going to plan on living another 70 years. That's 35 more sets of Olympics." I said, "I'm looking for a bud for that." And she said, "Well, write my name down for the 2026." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Just draw my name down the page." So I wrote Connie in and just drew the line down for all the next 35 Winter and Summer Olympics. I'm an emotionally weighty person. Just look at me. You say, "Oh my gosh, she's so great. Look at me. I'm a screwed up dude." But you know what? I can't even imagine how heavy it is to hold up under somebody like me. I can't even imagine what it's like to deal with somebody who's just internal all the time and just heavy and I can't even imagine what it's like. She's strong. She loves it. She loves me. It's magic, right? And she annoys the absolute heck out of me. Oh my gosh, she she forgets stuff and she does the wrong stuff and she presses the wrong button. Don't give her a remote unless you want to delete the whole television. Don't handle your phone unless you want your entire banking app deleted. She does that kind of stuff and but you know what? We have huge disagreements on money. We're doing better on that, partially because we have no money, so there's not a lot to fight over. We're both in the same boat that's leaking. It's pointing fingers. It was my fault. Um, but I'm pathetic as well, right? I'm emotionally up and down, and my hamster gets all crazy, and everything that I do is it's always the worst possible outcome in the world, and it turns out to be not that bad, or it's going to be the greatest thing in the world, and it turns out to be not that good. But we got our little house on the prairie, right? We're out here, right? We build a big thing, and it comes apart, and we got to tear it down, and we got to move, and let's go move again. Why? We're together. I think together is what we want to be. We talk a lot. I've been isolating in the room. You can't see everybody's like way away from me. I think I'm past all the stuff now. But Pop's staying away and everybody's staying away. But I for the first time, oh my gosh, I feel like myself. And she's like, we got to get together. And if we are not together and we are not talking and we are not sharing and we are not bonding or we are not just sitting on two computers in the same room, even if we're not talking together, our life equilibrium is just off. We have a bond. Oh, we've been through so much stuff I can't talk about here. Maybe we'll talk about it in another session. We've been through so much. But when everything breaks down, everything comes down, everything crashes down, we only have one question. where are we going to go? What's going to happen? Is it going to have this? Are we going to be able to make it through another month? Are we going to be able to do this? What happens with this? What happens with da-da-da? The question is always the thing. Are you going to be there? I'm going to be there. Then we just go for it, right? That's it. And it spills down to our children. Mikey's on a trip right now, and we're all like, what the heck, Mikey, you can't go anywhere. And of course he can go anywhere. Olivia was out of town the other week. Of course people can go somewhere, but we love each other. Well, that's going to be a real problem when you have in-laws or whatever. Is it, though? Is it? Maybe it is. You know what we all have is the skill to deal with whatever we need to deal with, but we don't have to lessen the bonds of our love in order to have the skills to work with whatever the reality of the situation. You can have both. I'm out of time. I'll just say this. I got 1 minute left. Part of me, I think the credit for our relationship goes to Connie. Because if you look at her, somebody was telling me this the other day. I was talking to this lady and one of our members, and she said she's just a good person. You just don't know. You don't know. Like her alarm is like her alarm. Everybody gets an alarm and they hit their alarm like, this sucks. Why can't I sleep? Connie's alarm is like, smile. Today is awesome. It's like it's a happy day. She's my little Jackie O Lantern. She's just a happy person. She makes people happy, and she likes people. She likes young kids. She likes old people. She likes every person. She likes talking to people. She likes doing all kinds of stuff. And I would say the strength of our marriage is Connie. And it's probably her good lighted, her light. Right? But also, I'm not a shabby catcher or contributor. We build vision. We talk it through. We share deeply. She never has to wonder where I'm at or what I'm thinking, because I'm letting her know. I'm listening, and I touch, and I hold, and I'm in awe of her, and I'm fascinated by her, and I want her. And I don't coast. I could coast because I know I'm secured, because to be loved is an amazing thing. Like those people say, if when you're loved by someone, you'll never reject it, decide what to go be and go be it. I am loved by this woman. It's called love. She's taught me what unconditional love is. But also, I wrap my arms around us both. I hold us both tight. I hold our family tight. I assure her, no matter what's going on, that beneath the issue, me and her are okay, and we're going to be okay. We're upset up here. I'm hurt up here. I'm crying up here. I'm angry up here. But please understand that has nothing to do with the me and you-ness, the we-ness of what's going on. And we laugh together, and we play together, and we fight together, and we do sexy stuff together. And I'm the absolute best lover in the world, without question, because she just lets me spoil her. And all I'm built for is someone to spoil. So I don't know if I'm Mr. Ingalls. I have no idea. But my heart is turned towards home. And for me, home is wherever that girl is. 23 years going. Well, that's church for today. It is simple. We're in another month. If you get value out of this, yes, I get a little bit of value. Send us a little bit of money, support, and say, okay, I see this. I'm getting something. I'm not going to take it for free. I get a ton out of this. Well, send us a ton of money. Someone say, ton of money. For some people, dear precious lady, she said, I got trouble. I got this and that. Sent $3 in this past week. Blessed my life so much, just to say, wow. Another person wrote and said, I am in a bad shape. I will support when I can, but you got to know this is changing my life. That's like, wow, it means so much to us. But if you're getting no value, why are we sending out the information if you're not getting value? But if you're getting value, I thank you for your support. And the rest of this is, we have church 7 days a week. What am I supposed to do Sunday through Sunday? Find somebody to love. You don't have to look far. Find somebody to consider, to regard, to see, to consider the sum of who they are, and to act charitably in that consideration. Oh, look at people. I tell you, when you know you're growing is you stop getting out of the good guys and bad guys and our side and their side, and you start getting out to, well, there's a complex story of every person here, and I'm part of the complex story, and I want to write good in everybody's complex story, and I want to try to find the good and bring it out of my complex story, because I can't turn inward. I got to turn outward. I got to live in this world as an embodiment of God, love, seeing all, and bringing healing and hope and a smile or an encouragement, or just bringing sight wherever I can. And that's what we do. That's what our church is. God bless you. I love you. Connie and I love you. We speak health and peace. You're single, married, separated, divorced, young, wanting a relationship, old, wanting a relationship, young, saying, I don't need a relationship, old, saying, I don't, you're in one or out of one. Doesn't matter. We speak peace, health, light, life, loaded with benefits, healing, soundness, life redeemed from destruction, surrounded by love and kindness and goodness and mercy that overtakes every sphere of your life, living long and strong on the earth. Joy, comfort, healing. We speak it and we agree. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, have a wonderful week. I'm doing good. Don't worry about me. You hear me, I'm feeling good. God is good. And I'll see you next Sunday. I don't know what we're going to get into next Sunday, but I think I have an idea. I'm praying it through now. But anyway, just be encouraged that nothing I said today was meant to harm you or hurt you. And if it did, well, just know that I might have stepped on your feet trying to help you out, but I really wasn't trying to. God bless you. Peace on you. We'll talk soon.